All right. This part always weird for me. Sorry, bear with me.
It's okay.
Because I feel so YouTubey. But anyways, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of This Might Get Deep podcast. Dang. I can't believe I'm doing another episode. This is crazy. When I first started, I didn't know how serious or committed I was going to be. But now that I feel knee deep in it. I'm proud of myself. So, whoop, whoop, another episode. And I have a special guest with me today. I'm so excited. This will be my first guest that I actually reached out to, just known from social media and around the way from the dope things she do. And we just been very supportive through social media and kind of like, I don't know if I can say got to know each other, but I don't know, I feel like I know her already, right? That's how Instagram works. But this will be my first guest that I bring that I'll be getting to know just on the spot and talking with. I know some things about her. That's why I brought her, because I think she's incredible from what I get to see on the outside looking in. And I just wanted to give her space to talk more. I feel like she can be very influential and inspiring to other women out there. So welcome, Martha. I got to get the hand claps because it's going to be silent.
Thank
hello.
you. Aww.
I would like you to introduce yourself. Actually, no. What I know, okay, is that she's a dope woman. I'll say that first. A wife, a mother. She's a PA. She works in a medical field. She's a fitness influencer. And I just found out you a twin.
Yes.
I was like, you a twin? I kept going back to this one photo and I was like, is she a twin? So I thought that was tight. Yeah. So many things. Such a well-rounded person. And when I asked you to come on here, it's because you remind me of myself. I want to say myself now and even just my future self, because I'm not a wife. I desire to have more kids now. That's a new thing. Mm-hmm. And even just in all the lanes you're in, you look like you balance it so well. But then also being a woman that I come from a very independent background, and just a busybody. I know that on the outside, it could look like it's all put together just perfectly, this nice ribbon, right? And then on the inside, it's like the ribbon is knotted up. It's in a 2-3 bows. It's all over the place.
Bunch of stuff in the box.
Exactly.
Right.
And you don't even know some stuff in the box.
Right.
In the box. So I thought you would be great to come on and just be that light for other women. People who aspire to be doing things that you do, people who already do, and you can be that voice. So I would love for you to just kind of share a little bit about yourself, on the lines of the things that I already mentioned, right? So how long have you been married? How long you been in fitness? More about your medical field.
Man.
Wherever you want to start.
All right.
Right?
Well, thank you. I did not know that I was the first one you reached out to that, to be on here. So that is a huge honor. Thank you. Sometimes like we don't see ourselves in certain light that other people see us in. So I appreciate that.
Of course. Yeah. You were the first person. And it came so naturally. I think it was either you commenting on something or maybe I commented on something, and I was just like, I feel like you would be a great person to have on the show. I don't know, and then your energy, you just always been supportive from when we started following each other, and it just felt very genuine. So I just feel like connected through that already. So I thought it would be.
No, for sure. You hit the nail on the head. You are amazing. And I was like, what does she want me to be on her podcast? Okay. But my name is Martha Carmella Wilkins. I am a wife, like you said, 12 years. Wow. We just celebrated on May 23rd. Thank you. And so been together, 17 years?
Wow.
Yeah. Did I say May 23rd? 24th. Sorry.
I'm about to say, your husband gonna get you, don't get me.
It's been a minute. Yeah, so I have 3 kids and and a bonus child. My stepson, he's 21. And then there's Carmella, she's 13, Solomon, 10, and then Roman, who's 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you have a 1-year-old?
Girl.
You weren't just pregnant. But you don't look like you. First of all, you don't like got no kids. And then you pop out a 1-year-old?
Yes. So I got a 13-year gap between my oldest and youngest. Don't ask me. It's just, he's my miracle baby.
My daughter is 11. Yeah. So when I decide to have another child, it ain't gonna be 11-year gap because I ain't gonna have one this year.
Right.
She about
So
to
it
be
might
12.
be about that time.
Yeah.
But it is a blessing. But so I grew up in San Francisco, born and raised in Bayview, Hunters Point. Come from a big family. As you know, I have a twin, but I have an older sister, older brother too, younger sister, younger brother. We share the same dad, different mom. But the four of us, older sister, brother, and twin, we all have the same mom and dad.
Okay.
My dad is from Nicaragua, actually, so I'm half black and half Nicaraguan. So that's part of my identity that I really value.
Okay.
I'm not fluent in Spanish though.
Okay.
Dang it, but conversational. Let's see. So just kind of grew up like playing sports, as you probably would imagine. Just been an athlete like yourself my whole life. I played basketball, ran track. Middle school, all throughout high school. I ran track 2 years in college, actually, for Chabot, while I was going to Cal State Hayward. And then basketball in high school. So my life has pretty much been, I feel like, developed through like sports as a kid, right? And athletics, and kind of just gravitated towards that lifestyle, like since I was younger. And just being active. I just remember like playing in the streets with the boys, playing kickball, racing.
Was you a tomboy?
For sure.
Okay,
like,
same.
All the way.
I'm getting them vibes to be able to play all those different sports. And then even now, just like your energy just seems real chill. It don't come off like prissy, girly, or nothing like that. Yeah.
Yep. So, but on the contrary, my sister, my twin, she's like the girly girl.
Okay.
Like, and it was crazy in high school because she was like wore makeup, her hair was always done, she dresses cute, and I don't know if you've seen her page, but she's
haven't.
A super big influencer. She does like styling, like fashion. You probably would.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so it was just funny in high school. Like I was always the tomboy, like dressed down, just really didn't care. Like, but I used to still pull them. But yeah. So it was funny, like because our personalities are so different. Just growing up, and I think we are so different until like later in life when we both had kids and stuff, and so we started having like a little bit more in common, just being wives and being moms and stuff. So it was cool, just like how we still maintained our individuality, but still kind of has some similarities. And so when people saw us together, they'll be like, "Oh, you guys are twins," and then you guys don't look alike. But then now they're like, "Wait, I thought you was your sister." It's crazy.
You both are identical twins.
We're fraternal.
Fraternal. So when I was looking, that's why I was like, are they twins? Are they not? Because y'all look like sisters.
Yeah.
Y'all look alike, but y'all don't look identical. But then I was like, I only seen like one picture.
I think we're starting to look more like each other the older we get.
As you get older.
Yeah, looking like our mom. But I love her to death. My older sister, I actually think I look like my older sister more, and my sister looks like my brother, which is crazy. Yeah.
We actually have a lot in common because, so I'm black, white, and Chinese. My dad is...
I knew you had Asian in you. I could tell.
I'll take it. I always, the thing is I identify as just black a lot of times. That's just because of my upbringing and that side of the family I connected with. And that's really all I know. But my mom is white and Chinese. So my grandmother on my mom's side is Chinese. That whole side of the family is just Chinese. Wow. And then my dad is just black. But I grew up with my dad. Well, I grew up with my mom, but when it comes to family and like family reunions and visiting family, it was my dad's side. And then just like I'm the darkest. I know I'm not dark. In my mind, I'm like chocolate dark skinned sister. But out of my siblings, I'm the darkest out of everybody. And I'm the one that everybody always say, "Oh, you look just black," and everybody else look mixed and all the things. And it don't bother me, but that's just my background. And I don't know any Mandarin. But my older sister, she can speak fluent Mandarin. My mom can. And then me and Under, we just speak English.
See, same, because my older sister is pretty much fluent in Spanish. She was raised by my mom and my dad. And then when we were born, they broke up, and I just didn't get the benefit. And I'm hella mad because I'm like, do you know how much more money I'll make?
If you was
if I was bilingual.
I said the same thing too. If I would have paid attention in Spanish class, I used to work at McDonald's. That was my first job, so I learned a little bit because they was just coming to McDonald's and they was teaching me. But I said the same thing. But I wanted to go back a little bit because you said a few things that I was like, oh. So you said you had a bonus son, right? And I'm dating, and if me and my boyfriend, or I'll say when, let me claim it. When me and my boyfriend get married, obviously my daughter would be his bonus starter. But I'm curious to when. So I want to hear like a little bit more about your marriage. Like, were you all? And I don't know if you told me like high school or college sweethearts, or when did you all meet? And like, tell us a little bit about that, and then so we can dive in deeper.
Yeah. So my husband and I met at church.
Okay.
And I know people are like, oh, like it's not that
no,
exciting.
When I hear about men at church, I'll be like,
yeah, I know.
And I grew up in a church, but and I think, did you grow up in church?
Kinda.
Yeah. When you grow up in church and you see like you on the inside and you see how it is, like we all in church growing up, so we're not perfect. We probably like the worst of the worst. So when I hear about men in church, I'll be like, I don't want them. But
yeah,
on the flip side, somebody who doesn't would be like, oh, it's a nice going church man.
No, he was playing games at first, but so we met at church and we started talking, and it's kind of a crazy story because he expressed a little interest in me, and I was just like, he like made a comment about my toes, said like he liked my French manicure on my toes, and I was like, oh, thank you, a man that pays attention to detail, right? Because I'm like, who's looking at your toes?
They're looking at everything, them edges,
right?
Everything. They look too
and
close,
so
actually.
I was like, okay, he must be into me. He didn't call me for like a week, then had my friend text me and was like, oh, hey, this is Solomon's number. He said to call him, and I was like, no, he needs to call me. Here's my number. So he finally called me. We went out on a few dates. He stood me up once.
Wow.
Didn't come through. He faked on me.
Were you there already and he didn't come?
No, he was supposed to pick me up from the house, and he just never came. I was like, okay, you playing games. And so I was just ready to be like done. And then he was just, finally he came around because one day he saw another guy approach me at church. And he asked me to take, he asked to take me out to lunch. And I was like, thinking about it, like entertaining it. And then his friend, he came out, he was like, no, you're coming with me. And I was just like, okay. It was like Mother's Day weekend. I was like, well, I'm going to my sister's house. So do you want to come with me to my sister's? And he was like, yeah, I'm coming. And I was like, oh, all of a sudden you just on board.
Right.
But then shortly after, his mom passed away. And so that was him being the only child. He just withdrew like completely, and was really tough. And so I was like, well, granted, whatever he's going through, I'm gonna just give him some space. If it's meant to be, he'll come around. And he actually like came back around, and the rest is history. Like I've just been really patient with him just over those first few years. It was really, really tough.
I can imagine.
Yeah. And so and then we moved to SoCal. I had our first kid, our daughter, Carmella. But we moved down there for my stepson, his son, Jesus, because he's from Downey, so he lived with his mom. And so I was like, well, if we're going to do this, I'm going to move with you. Like, I made the executive decision to say, like, this is the man that I saw my future with. And so I was like, I'm going to just make the decision, even though we're not married yet. And I got so much slack from my family for that.
I can imagine.
My mom was like, what are you doing moving with him and you're not married? Then I got pregnant with my daughter. And I was just like, look, I got a pretty good track record. Like, I made good decisions. Like, trust me when I say, like, I know what I'm doing. And then so they were just like, okay, like backed off a little bit. We had our daughter at Long Beach Memorial, so she was born in Long Beach. And then I got pregnant with our second son.
This is before marriage too?
No, so then we ended up getting married.
Okay, after your daughter.
After our daughter. And then I got pregnant again, and so we moved back up north, back up here to Oakland. And then it was a tough decision because we just got used to being down there with his son, right, and his family, which is super supportive. And it's crazy because we used to be like at his baseball games and like I'm sitting with his baby mama and she's like holding Mella, and then I'm like,
wow,
right. And so people used to come up to me and be like, is that weird that like his baby mama, like y'all so cool? And I'm like, no, like I think we need to normalize like co-parenting, and like it doesn't always have to be drama, right? So I think people were just like taken back that we weren't like funking or like that y'all
was actually cool, because it's either gonna be drama or y'all gonna be cool,
right? So it was like we were cool and not like fake cool, but like we went over their house, like they
Genuinely
cooked,
cool, yeah.
they watched our kids, and she's such a good mom. And if there was anybody that I had to do this co-parent step bonus kid situation with, it would be her. Her name is
Yeah.
Liz.
And that let you know, I feel like for me, that let me know, okay, she don't want him. You know, I don't
Right,
gotta
and
work
she was
'cause,
married too, so
see?
she had 2 kids. She
Yeah.
moved on, and I think with just the circle that we have, like he is such an amazing kid. He just graduated from Cal with
Oh, wow.
a degree
Congrats to
in
him.
mechanical engineering. Girl,
At
he's
21.
21. He's so smart.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I see my
Wow.
kids like following his footsteps. I'm like, do
That's
what
a
he's
blessing,
doing,
yeah,
right?
for sure.
And so it doesn't necessarily have to like end, like with both parties like arguing or beef or anything. Like we're bringing up this beautiful kid,
Yeah.
and look what he's turned into, right? So
Yeah.
such a blessing.
And I think because he has all of that support, that's what's able to keep him from, because I think it could go either way sometimes when kids don't see their parents together or,
Yeah.
when it's just now that co-parenting aspect where you got to go to 2 different houses. It's 2 different birthdays, 2 holidays, maybe depending on how the relationship is. But I think that when the adults can get it together, that's what does the most for the kid, because I even think about myself and with my daughter, in all transparency, she's really battling right now with just a dynamic between her and her dad because he isn't present. He's still alive, he's present, but he's not present,
Yeah.
And so she really is like every day yearning for that and hoping like, oh, he'll come around the way she needs him to and want him to. And that plays a big toll on her, even with dating. She is like not with me dating. She's
Oh,
not.
I was like,
open.
she ain't dating,
No,
right?
no, heck no, not till she's 50. No, but with me dating, I don't bring. I haven't brought. I brought like one person before my boyfriend now, and then him. So me dating to her is like, what? My mom actually has like, she likes men, like boys, like she got boyfriends, and so with my partner that I'm with now, it's like my first real relationship where I see future and we talk about it, we plan it, and I'm like, bring her around, and she's like, it's like this. Like I can tell there's moments where she wants to be open to it, and then she's like, but that's not my dad, and I'll be disloyal to my dad if I'm accepting and open to this person loving me. And so, and then the other aspect of it's always been just me and her. So then she's like, what if this person takes my mom? Then I'm being disloyal to my dad. And it's like she's building this like early trauma of like abandonment that don't exist. Well, it exists with her dad, but I think she thinks with me it'll happen as well.
Yeah.
And so it plays a part on her, I feel like, when it comes to just school and her interactions with men in general. She's even battling right now with my dad, her grandfather, because she's just not used to having men around. So now this, I don't know, just something is building up in her to where she's like this when it comes to men. But like when it comes to women, she like clings very fast, very, very easily, and it's nothing to her. She'll build that relationship, but with men, it's like, I don't know. And so I said that to say I think that because of the lack of presence of her dad, that's playing a big toll on her. But I could imagine if he was always there, always present, she knew what it was to have that father figure in her life, then she would be more open.
Yeah. But like I think girls are different from boys too.
That part too.
My husband was very active in Jesus' life. So like going back and forth and the commitment that we made to actually even move down there. So for her, I think, in my opinion, it just more so like communication because she hasn't seen this version of you yet. Right. So it's like, she got to trust you as her mom to know like this is not a reoccurring situation, right? Like this is not like do number around, 5 or 6, right? So like she has to trust your judgment and know that you'll never put her in harm's way. You're always gonna comfort her, and so it comes with, I think, with age too.
With age, for sure.
For them to like look at it from a different lens, and it's sometimes it's hard, like being when your dad is not there. Like we all. I don't know what it was. Like my dad, we all been there. Like our daddies, it's like an epidemic. Just like they just cut out.
Yeah.
And I was raised by my stepdad since I was like 2, right? So that's like my dad, right? He's white, so it's very different. But like, when people are like, "Oh, I thought your dad was Hispanic," and I'm like, "He is, but this is my dad too," right? So I have to explain that dynamic. But yeah, my dad, I don't know, like he whatever reason,
Yeah.
they just feel like it's too much responsibility, or I don't know. They
I
just
feel
don't
like
know.
with my dad, I've learned now to give him grace because he's a great father now. And he wasn't like a bad father then. He just didn't know how to show up.
That part.
And he was 19, I think, when him and my mom had me. So I even try to put myself in their shoes, and I'm like, you was basically a kid with a kid, and just still trying to figure out life and having failed relationships. And he come from a background. My grandparents were really strict and like really just like on him, old school. They from the South, and so I think he just had like a lot of things in his life that he was still trying to navigate. And with him and my mom, they were very unhealthy. So it was like I think he just didn't know how. And then now he still honestly deals with guilt from because it's me. I have 5 sisters, well 6 now, but
Oh,
at the
shoot.
time, but with my dad, we share. It's only me and one sister, so we all have the same mom. Then we have different dads. So he has me and one of my other sisters, and he grew up with this guilt of not being there for us for a long time. And even now, he just told me yesterday that when my daughter's with him for the summer, and it's hard for him to have that structure and discipline with her because he's dealing with guilt from me and my sister. So he's like, he want to tell her, oh, we can't go, you're not going swimming today because, you was talking back. But then he's like, I don't want her to miss out because I
Yeah.
would my daughter's missed out. So he's like, fine, go swimming. So now my daughter is like running around with the big pants on, and my dad is like trying to find this balance of being a grandfather, being stern, giving her that structure and the things that she needs. But then he's also like in that grandfather zone of like, here, just take everything,
Right. You
So
try to,
she's like running all over him a little bit.
yeah, taking advantage of Tad.
Yeah, so, but anyway, I do agree with what you said. I think that it takes a lot of conversations. I'm in therapy. I put my daughter in it to try it a little bit and learned that it just needs to be me, and I just got to work on being a firm parent, not feeling bad, and giving her conversation, and just showing up as a mother and being there for her. And at the end of the day, as much as we try to protect our kids from like stuff, life's still gonna happen, and I think that's the scary part. And when we were talking about middle school, I was like, I know I can't keep her from everything,
Yep.
Now I'm like, boy, she on
Oh,
her cycle, like all these different things, and just different influences and exposure. And we only can do the best that we can, and kids
yeah.
still gonna make their own choices. They still gonna have their own experiences,
We can just give them the tools, and
and just
hopefully they make the best
talk.
decisions, right?
Yeah. But I appreciate too your opinion and stuff because I agree with you.
But also, she'll see like the best version of you at this point in your life, and
Yeah.
that in itself will give her confidence. She's like, my mom is happy.
Yeah.
It don't even have to be like an exchange of a conversation. She could just feel that vibe, right? And so
Yeah.
she feels that from you, and she'll most likely open up a little bit because that'll be reciprocated throughout your relationship with your boyfriend,
sure.
soon to be husband. When and even with her, so you know how kids feel that energy,
They
right?
do.
And so we got to make it a point to really be intentional about like how we show up. And it's hard sometimes. And so when we talk about that box that you mentioned this morning,
Yeah.
just like opening up like all that stuff, right? Like our daughters dealing with their cycles and them becoming like little women, and our significant others and our careers, and life just pulling us in so many different directions. And it's like we have to come back to self because everything else will fall to the wayside. And I've learned that over the course of my marriage, being a mom, having like after every baby, it was like, who am I? Like, what am I doing? Right.
Yeah.
And so that's why I really appreciate like how you see me in this light, because one, I must be doing something right, but, but also, I appreciate the honesty, and I have to recognize, like I think we're hard on ourselves a lot of times where it's just we feel like we're not doing such a great job because there's so many different aspects being pulled in so many different directions, wearing so many hats that it feels overwhelming.
Yeah.
Right.
And I wanted to ask you with that because, well, one thing I always try to tell moms, what I've learned is that you're more than just a mom. Because I think as a parent or a mom specifically, I think naturally all the responsibility comes on us. We're the primary caregiver for the kid, and just it's nothing like a mom, right? No shade to dads, but it's just different. And I
Yeah.
think that it's really easy to forget that you're more than just this mom. You're more than just this nurturer and caretaker for this child. And like you said, you can tend to lose yourself. And with me looking at you on the outside, you do. It looks like you just balance everything so well. And I'm sure you do have a balance, right? Because you're still juggling it all.
Yeah.
But how do you do that with being a wife? Because the way I look at it from spiritual and being a Christian is your husband first, then your kids. And when I think about it now, I'm like, I've been a single mom 11 years. You know, I've never been married. I've been independent. I raised myself. I didn't have no parental guidance. I didn't have parental structure. Or I was in a very dysfunctional household. So all the things, everything that I know now was through the grace of God, honestly. And so when I think about just that tier of like God first, your husband, the kids, I'm like, okay, God first, but I'm like, you put the man before the kids, and I understand why, because if you and your husband not good, how can your kids be good?
That part, yep.
But not being in it, it's like, how do you balance that? And I see a lot of times women, they'll be wives, they'll be mothers, and that's it. It's like nothing for themselves. They're not doing anything but taking care of home. And I think that's how women get in these depressions or stress or lose themselves. They start to fall off with their health and even just getting dressed sometimes with their friends. It starts to simmer down. You're not hanging out. So how do you like create that balance for yourself? And then is that a conversation between you and your husband, or is that just always been how you are?
I think it's a little bit of both. Like, I'm very ambitious. I'm very ambitious since I was younger. Just like I said, playing sports, and just even kind of loved it so much that I allowed that to kind of dictate like my career. So I wanted to be in athletics and sports medicine. So that's how I ended up being an athletic trainer as like my first kind of shift in my career, just because I love sports so much. And then that kind of segued into medicine, sports medicine. And just that drive I think I've had from my mom. Like, she had us like working since we were like 10. Like, I vividly remember like working. She had hot dog carts, girl, popcorn, like flower carts. She's like, as soon as I could do math and count money, like I was
there
working. I was like 8 or 10.
Wait, so is your mom Latina?
My mom's black.
The mom's black. Okay.
So my mom's been like a hustler. Like, so I feel like I got that drive from her. And then just the innate ability to just like, when I have a goal, I'm just like, I'm gonna do that. And I know people ask like, I just like commend you, like your dedication and commitment. I just think like that's how I want to show up in the world, because I know that my kids are depending on me too. It's for me.
Yeah.
And to your point, so like when I got married, I made it a point, like we discussed with my husband, like, I'm going to go back to school. Like, I want to become a PA. And he was fully supportive of that move. So I got into a school like Cal State Monterey Bay, which is about 2 hours from the Bay Area. So I actually moved down to Monterey.
Oh, you were doing like in-person school?
Yes. Okay. Like, it was so intense. I had to be in person. And so we made a commitment. He was like, it's temporary. I moved down there for 2 years. So like my first year of school, like I would only see my kids on the weekends, which was super hard for me. Right. My husband was like a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
Like, but it was the level of commitment that we had for each other. And because we knew that this was going to change the trajectory of our family. Right. So I was like, let's do this. Finished, went by super fast. And by the grace of God, he carried me through that program, because it was so hard. It's like med school condensed in like 2 years, 2.5 years.
My dad is a PA.
Oh, really? Oh, my God.
We got so much in common. Like, my dad is PA.
Where does he practice?
He's in Fresno.
Oh,
so that's where he stays.
Okay. And my twin lives in Clovis, which is like...
My dad stayed in Clovis. Yep.
Look,
so him and his fiance, she's also in the medical field. I don't know her exact title, but they both do medical.
What's his specialty, or what? You don't know? Family medicine, maybe. So
I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, back to that. So I think, just having the ability to balance it all, and don't get me wrong, there are times where I'd be like, what am I doing? Like, this is too much.
Yeah.
And recently, with this, we'll get into this, but
I think
my husband is also a very, very ambitious person. And so I think we complement each other well. He's just like a high functioning person. Like he
Yeah.
wakes up at like 4:30 every morning, goes to the gym. He's very structured, which we need because
Yeah.
one person has to be that person, and that's him in our household with the kids and everything.
Which
I'm
is great
more,
as a leader. He's a
yeah,
leader,
right.
you know.
I'm more like lax, but like when I'm ready to grind or when I have something to do, my head is
On it.
down
Yeah.
and I'm in the trenches, and then I'll come up for air when I need to. My husband is just like this, like
Yeah.
straight all the time, and it's crazy because my birthday was on Monday. We went out to lunch, and
And happy belated
thank you.
birthday.
Reminded me, it just reminded me that he was like, so I think everybody should have a goal when for their birthday year for the year versus like January 1st, and he's like, what's your goal for this year?
I love that.
Yeah, but I was like, you know what? I
You
don't have one.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that for the
Yeah.
first time in my life. Really, Ariel, like I've been so driven to get to the point where I am now and I love the level of success that I've achieved, and not just like career wise,
Yeah.
right? Like as a mom, as a wife, like I feel like God has really worked on me, so I'm reaping my blessings, right? And it wasn't until I just had Roman, he was born last year, that God was like, you know what? I was like, God, I really need to slow down
Yeah.
because I was in school super, and I get emotional because I feel like when I was in school, I like missed out on like significant years of my kid's life because
Yeah.
I was so focused. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Just
It's okay.
so
I
focused
forgot to
on
get my
like
tissues. I'm sorry.
grinding, and my kids were like so small, and I just remember thinking like, I hope that they don't remember that I wasn't here for like their birthdays, like
Yeah.
when I was just studying and just in the trenches with PA school. But now that I came out on the other side, I asked them, I was like, do you remember when I was, and they
Yeah.
were like, kinda, like, we remember you had an apartment, but that's really it. And so I'm like, whew, like, I'm glad that they don't like really like take it, like
The way that you would
that I
think they
took
do.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was thankful for that, because those are the times where you're like questioning, like, if you are even doing this right. Right. And so when people on the outside look at like, oh my God, you went to school with your kids and you're a PA, like, yeah, I didn't see them nights where I was like crying my
Yeah.
eyes out, couldn't see my kids for like a week.
Yeah.
Right. And my husband's like, that was very challenging for our marriage, because he's like, when are you going to be done? Like, this is getting a lot. And then even after that, just the ambitious person I am, I took this like super, like, it's just this role as a PA in plastic surgery. It was super demanding. And my husband was like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I really wanted this job. And it was like 40, 50 hours a week. I was on call. And he was like, this wasn't the agreement. Like,
Yeah.
you said when you were done with school, we were going to figure this out. And I was like, all right. So I actually quit that job 10, 11 months in. I didn't even make it a year. And then I got the job that I'm at now, which allows me to have so much flexibility. And then just going back to that, being intentional, like, I'm not here for like the accolades or just to be like, oh, you got this great job as a PA. Like, it pays well. I get paid really good money.
Yeah.
Like, I got flexibility and I can be with my kids. And that's
Yeah.
what matters to me now.
Yeah.
And so everybody has to kind of go through the motions or go through the process of getting to where you are, and just being super ambitious at times, but knowing when you have to kind of fall back. And I think over the course of my life, I've finally am able to like sit down and say like, now I can rest.
Yeah.
And this too, because
Yeah.
God is making me do that.
Right. So I remember when you told me, well, I want to say we have so much in common,
Yeah.
because even with my mom was a hustler. She went to jail for having a hustle to take care of her kids. And even me at a very early age, like, I can't remember. I was so young having to hustle. And because I watched my mom, she didn't really necessarily like teach me how. But I was like, I'm just seeing. That's all I knew. It was like survival mode. So I remember telling a story where I was stealing peaches off somebody, plums, peaches, whatever, off somebody's tree and selling them in front of their house, because it was like, that's all I knew. Or I would have things like shoes and stuff, I would sell them. Or I got a job as early as I could. Just always been a hustler and ambitious. And then I think for me, I've always kind of like, I would say failed at things. So when it came to like school, I didn't have good grades. I wasn't like studious. I didn't do the best. I was even skipping class. I only wanted to go to school to play basketball and to hang out. And but I think the role that I played in my life today is that because I'm not afraid to fail, it made me a person that was like, I'm gonna go out and just do everything and take a risk, because what I'm gonna lose, either I'm gonna fail or I'm gonna go get it. And I've been able, through the grace of God, I've been blessed to be able to not fail, right? Or to look at failure as not a failure. It was something to put me into this position I am now with success, and even redefine what success is to me. It's not just financial.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
So we have a lot in common when
We
it comes
sure
to that.
do.
And something that you talked about that stood out to me was being still and God putting you in that position of just like, I'm telling you, but you're not listening. And we talked about that. And I feel like I've had multiple moments like that too, where I'm praying for something and I even tell God, like, I'm tired of hustling. I'm tired of always being the go-getter. And I think I fell victim to the grind culture. And it was just like, if I don't grind, then I'm not going to have, and I'm going to fail, and I'm not going to be happy. And then as I was grinding and I was making money, I was having opportunities in LA with celebrities. I was just like empty. And I was like, I'm having everything that I think I want, but I'm still feeling empty. And it was because I was chasing something that wasn't fulfilling my spirit, and I had to really take a seat back and figure out what is my life purpose. Like, what am I here to do on earth that God has assigned me to, that will actually allow me to wake up every day and have joy. And so it took, my sit down wasn't an injury. It was moving to LA and like literally having nothing, like struggling with my daughter. I tell the story
How
of, we
long
didn't
ago
even
was
have,
this?
this was in 2018, 19.
Okay.
And I had moved to LA and fell rock bottom. I saved like $10,000 in that time, coming from nothing. I'm like, oh, this is a lot. Like, I'm finna get an apartment and we finna be, and that went
That was like 2
$100,
months.
right? And I have a similar moment where my daughter had to go with my grandparents for that whole summer. And so because I was staying on somebody's couch trying to find a place. I got a job at Fashion Nova. So I was like staying on somebody's couch working at Fashion Nova until I get a place and trying to grind and get it for me and her. But I was just like, my story is actually, I had to leave my daughter when she was sleeping. So I was in Chicago with my grandparents, and I knew if I was to tell her, because she was like 4 or 5, she was just going to be like, no, Mom. And my heart wasn't going to be able to take it. So I had to leave while she was sleeping. And that like really took a toll on me, because I just felt like
I feel you.
that was the worst way to do it. And she just woke up, I was gone. And I was like gone for 2-3 months. And then, gratefully I had my grandparents who I trusted, who were great and who were my parents just throughout my whole life. And so anyway, I don't want to go too deep in that, but that's where I feel like we have similarities, just like hoping that my daughter doesn't remember that I left her. But if she does remember it, I hope that as she gets older, she can look back and say, my mom sacrificed a lot in order for me to be able to not have to go through the things that she went through, in order for me to have a prosperous life as a child and not struggle, and I
she'll
feel the same
understand
with
later.
your kids.
Yeah.
Later,
Not in the moment, but later down the road, and she'll be like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
Right. So, there was a point that
I wanted to ask you,
yeah.
because just sitting still.
Oh,
You
yeah,
got injured. I wanted to ask you, do you think that was a way of God allowing that to happen so that you can actually, like, how has that been playing a role in stillness for you right now?
I think I mentioned it to you a couple weeks ago, like when we were messaging, just because, like, I always feel like I got to be doing something. Same thing, like you. Just like,
Can't stay
right. And I'm
still.
just like, if I'm sitting down, something must be wrong.
I get
And
depressed.
so, yeah. I
Literally.
mean, which is a good trait to have, right? Like, we want to be, it is sometimes
Yeah.
it's a gift and a curse. And, just like after I was working, I was like, okay, job is steady. Like, I need to do something else. So I started picking up like my online training business again, and rebranding and all of that. And then, I got pregnant and I was just like, all right. So I felt like I was at a standstill. My husband was like, you just had a baby, like chill out. I'm like, I got to get back to it. And, but now he's 1. And then I was like, all right, so like, what's next?
Yeah.
And it's just like that dopamine hit that we need, right? Because dopamine is that hormone that,
Just feels so
the
good.
future
It's
is like what we're
yeah.
working towards, right? And it's like the go-getter hormone. And then like, once we get there, it's like, all right, that's it.
It's like, what's next? You
What's
don't even
next?
realize
Yeah.
I prayed to be right here and I'm here.
Yeah.
But I
And
can't even focus because I'm like, what's next?
that's me. And it really takes
Yeah.
the joy out of like achieving goals and like really being still in the moment. So I was feeling that after Roman, and I was like, what's wrong with me? Like, I'm literally like achieving everything I want to achieve, but yet and still I'm like looking for the next thing. And I
Yeah.
was just like, it ain't even been 6 months. And so I started praying like, God, remove whatever I want for my life and replace with what you want, with decrease me, increase you, like show me the path that you want me on. Right. And so I was like, all right, like I'm feeling kind of in like mundane and just, like complacent. And then this happened like Mother's Day weekend. I don't even know if it specifically was for that reason, but I
Yeah.
think it's contributing to the overall purpose of
Yeah.
like where I'm supposed to be.
So, and what is it you?
I tore my patellar
Okay.
tendon, so I was playing flag football, hurt, popped, and so I had surgery a couple days later, and he was like 6 months recovery. So this happened in May, and I was like, great. So for the
Yeah.
rest of the year, I'm gonna just be
That's to us. That sounds like
it's
forever.
forever.
Yeah.
And for me personally, like one, because physical activity, fitness is like my brand, right? It's my lifestyle. It's like how we move in the world with my
Yeah.
kids and like what I really emphasize and how important it is. So it was really, really hard for me mentally, like more than the physical aspect. Like, yeah, my knee was in pain. I was like, pfft, like I'm struggling mentally. Went into a little bit of a depression because I can't even like work out. I can't do anything. And people were like, well, it's your time. So I really dug deep in my word and was just praying. And I feel like God is continuing to speak to me, but just having me just really be still in this moment, not only to heal physically, but to like allow Him to work the way He wants to work,
Yeah.
right? Because otherwise I'll just be out trying to do something else. And I'm like, I could be veering off in the wrong direction, failing at something when that's not really what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So I'm just like waiting to hear from Him. And in the meantime, I really have felt a sense of peace that I'm not having to like strive to meet a goal or to like have this big project aside from my husband and our podcast coming. But, and just being really intentional with my kids and trying to like make up for the time that I felt like I lost with them.
Yeah.
And it was only for a couple years, but still like we ain't getting those years back.
Yeah.
And so as my daughter's getting older, she's 13, I have to be there for her in a certain way, same way with my 10-year-old and with the baby, right?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like,
Spreading yourself out a lot.
but I'm
Yeah.
enjoying the process like now. And I think I didn't really recognize how important that was like before this, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. I feel like what I'm learning about stillness and with God is that a lot of times I think before I would think like, okay, God want me to rest and be still to like, He want me to go to Him. He want me to tell Him this. I just need to talk to Him. And sometimes God is just like, girl, shut up.
Let
I
me.
already know, like I'm all knowing. Just be still and listen.
Yeah.
And just allow me to work. And I think, God will allow things to happen to take you out of control so He can be in control. And I think about your leg, it's like, we are in control of ourselves. We can make our decisions and move. You can do A, B, and C. But even just viewing this in a spiritual way of like God allowed you to lose control so you can give Him control, which is
Yep.
the best control. He's the best driver than anybody. He can
Yep.
take us to where we need to be other than where we think, His will is always greater.
So true. Cause I'm like, why did this happen to me? Like, I don't understand. And yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
I'm still in this journey though. So don't get me wrong. Like
That's what
when
I
we
was
talk
gonna
about
say.
how like being deep in it and like really feeling those emotions, like I think I cried like I don't know how many times, but then every now and then I'm like limping with this brace on, like even for my birthday, and I was like, man, snap out of it. Like it could be
Yeah,
worse. Like
it
I
could
could
be
literally,
worse.
my leg could have been broken. And so just really appreciating like the process and even in our downtime, right?
Yeah.
It's like I'm so used to, I've had such like these last few years have been just amazing. And I'm like, well, somebody got to suffer. Like
Yeah.
I can't always be on the up and up, you know?
Yeah.
So,
And life
yeah.
always, I've started to tell myself that, because I was in this season of like, man, it's always something, and every time something happened, if anything set me back again, I get in this like mood of wanting to like get depressed because I feel like I can't move and do what I want to do. Just like you again, when I had my daughter, 2 weeks after I went back to playing basketball, I was in college. So when I was
Wow.
pregnant, I never sat down. I was going to practice every day and just shooting around or just being there and watching, just being in the atmosphere. And I was going to all the games. I was traveling pregnant. And I'm like,
You
I can't
couldn't
wait
sit
till this
down.
baby drop. Like, I'm coming back. And 2 weeks after, terrible decision, I went back playing
Two
instead of like
weeks.
literally. I was blessed to not get no stitches and just
Yeah,
was
it's
snapped
natural
back,
birth. Yeah.
natural birth. And 2 weeks after, I literally was like, I feel good.
You
And my
crazy.
coach, and it was terrible because I didn't have any great leaders, I would say, because they shouldn't have let me come back after 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and join the season. It was just like, so I wasted a whole year because I wasn't even conditioned. I wasn't at my best potential with the
Right.
sport because I'm just coming back like, oh, I'm missing basketball so much. Because I was grieving the sport. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, at the time, I was like, this baby in my way. Like, I can't do nothing,
That's like what you identified with at the time. Like you're an
That was
athlete.
my peace. That
Yeah.
was my safe space. That was the only place I went that wasn't dysfunctional. There was structure. I felt love, community. So that was like my everything. But anyway, I say that to say that, God will really stop something just so we can refocus on Him, because a lot of times we'll pray for things are going good, and we're like, okay. And I think naturally we start to feel like, okay, I'm doing good. I'm
Yeah.
doing
You
this.
think
I'm this.
I'm
I'm
doing it.
that.
Yeah.
And God, like, all right now, because at the end of the day, He's going to get the glory and the credit, And I
Yeah.
think that it's a blessing as well too, Like you said, it could always be worse. And when we go astray, God loves us so much that He still, even when He put a wrench in the play, it's because He loves us that much,
Yep.
And so that we don't fully stray away from Him. And
Yep.
it's like a reminder, So
You got to
that's
bring us
a
back every
blessing.
now and then. Like, come on back. Come on
Like, nah,
back.
don't go too far. But I wanted to
Yep.
ask you, I feel like we could talk for
I
hours, man.
know.
I want to
We
bring you
have a
back
lot in
now. It's so
common.
much
Yeah.
in common. I wish we would have talked longer on the phone too, so
I
we could have
know.
known more. But just with like where you are right now, with balance, with all that you do, and this is what I want to say too, because even to hear your story, like with your husband and y'all, he was playing and all that, but like, look at how supportive I know but just to the outside people, like, you didn't let like outsiders come in and tell you like, oh no girl, don't do this, or even with your parents like, oh, you're doing the wrong thing. Like, I know there's a way of living right through God and spiritual, being a Christian in that lens, but God allows certain things to happen because we're all on our own journey. So I feel like for your story now and the journey you went on, it has done so much for you. And as you continue to speak, you and your husband do your podcast and y'all do y'all separate speaking too, how impactful that could be for others when it comes to like even finding your spouse. Because I think a lot of times, just hearing you speak, I think about like how naturally before I found my boyfriend, I had this list of things, and I'm like, he got to be this, he got to be that, he got to be this.
Girl, I said the same thing. I was
And
like,
then,
I don't want a man with no kid. I want a man with no kids. He got to be this.
And now
look, my husband was
your
the one with the kid.
And just even how supportive he is for you, even though y'all had y'all struggles with you being in school, like, he still was like, let's do it.
My husband is so supportive, and I think that's pretty much the overall arching like theme with our marriage is like we're supportive of each other. Like,
Yeah.
I allow him to lead our household, which I think sometimes at this day and age, like women, yes, we want to be so independent, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I'm
tired of
very
that
independent,
now. Right.
yes, but there at the same time, I allow my husband to do what he needs to do to take our family to the next level.
To
So
be your
like
husband.
the other day, he was like, "Okay, you don't have no goals, I get it." He was like, "But you gotta let me cook." He was like, "You can't," and then so I give him his space. I
love
let
that.
him work. Because I know that everything that he does is for us.
For
and
y'all.
he says, like, I grind because I want us to have this lifestyle. I got us this house. Like, everything I do is for you.
Yeah.
And so in order for him to be his best self, I have to allow him to do that. So I give him the space to be creative and work and do what he needs to do. And I'll step in when I need to, but there's
Yeah.
also times where I'm like, okay, I need a break.
Yeah.
Like, these kids, like, can you come
Yeah.
get them? Like, can I have some self-care? And so that's the balance part, right? And I think when people look at, our marriage and our family, it's more like, oh my God, how do you guys do it? And it's really about the balance. And I know I don't want to sound cliche, but it's like, we have I'm in the front sometimes and he just like falls back and lets
Yeah.
me do what I need to do, like with school. And then on the flip side, like he'll advance in his career and be traveling and doing
Yeah.
and
It's
doing
okay.
he'll be traveling and doing all this stuff, and I'll be in the back seat like with the kids, because I'm like, who else is gonna
Yeah.
hold you down like that? And that's how we are able to move as a unit, like, and literally like moving up. And I'm not meaning not only financially, but just like how we raise our kids
In all
and
aspects. Yeah.
all aspects, like teaching them the word and going to church and making sure we prioritize fitness and health and eating well, right? Because that is the foundation of a healthy family.
For
And so
sure.
that's what we are at.
For sure. I love that. And I brought that up because I just wanted the lady to know, like, don't let everybody be in your ear. Because look, right? So before we go, I definitely want you to let people know how to find you. But also, like, is there anything, any piece of advice, or if someone, a young Martha came to you and just like, how? Is there any piece of advice that you would like to share or give, or any, words to even, I would say not even a young Martha, like myself, even listening to you talk, I'm just like, wow, like, it feels good to know I'm not alone, even though we live two different lifestyles. I aspire to be a wife and to be able to still thrive and be who I am independently as a woman, as I'm becoming one with somebody else and being a mother and things like
Yeah.
that. So, when it comes to that, is there anything else that you would like to leave or say to someone?
I think we kind of touched on it a little bit about just like having our own goals and like not losing ourselves. Because I
Yeah.
think all of us can relate to that on some level, right? Whether it's our career, being a
Yeah.
mom, being a sister or daughter, like getting pulled every which way, but still find time for yourself, right? And I know that's hard to do, right?
Yeah.
Especially if maybe you're the sole provider of your household and you don't have a significant other or second income, right? But it's so imperative to show up and be full for yourself, because that will trickle down to your kids and to everyone in your relationship that you have a relationship with, whether it's your sister, your friends, right? They get that piece of you too.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And so even your significant other. So my husband, like, I know when I need to refuel
Yeah.
and when I need to pull away a little bit, because I start to get like, I feel overwhelmed. I don't feel like myself, and being able to recognize that is important. So as women, like, know when you feel like you're like not yourself. You're like, oh, I'm tripping, or maybe my attitude is bad, or I'm snapping on everybody,
Yeah.
or my kids are getting like the short end of me.
I'm in that space now.
Yes, and so it's important, like, because it happens, right? And then when you take a step back, you're like, dang, like, I shouldn't have went off on them like that. I'm
Oh
sorry.
my God, I'm sorry, babe.
And it happens, right? But that's when we have to check ourselves and know, like, okay, does Martha need, like, so that's what I would tell
Yeah.
my old self, like, what do I need first? And it's not being selfish. And I think I used to think that way, like, oh, I'm being selfish if I take time away to go do something for
Yeah.
me and not my kids, or spend money on myself and not my husband. And I'm just like, now I'm like, I need that.
It's selfish if you don't.
It's selfish if you don't.
Yeah. That's
If you
good.
don't do that, right? Because then they get the worst version of you. So how selfish is that?
Yeah.
That you can't even show up for them,
Your best self
let
for them,
alone
yeah.
yourself, right? So that would be my my tip, or
That's
because,
good.
and to continue, because once you do that, you can branch off and do all these things because you have a little self check, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm full now, I can venture off and do this project and give it 100%,
Yeah.
right? Versus like you feeling halfway full or halfway empty, depending on how
Yeah.
you look at it, and give a half boot job,
Yeah.
right? And so to me, that's very important, and they recognize that too. So my husband will recognize when I need that, and he'll ask me, and that's just us being together for so long. He's like, do you need a break? Yes, I do. Sometimes I don't have to. Yeah, sometimes I don't have to say it, and he just
Yeah,
knows.
you
And
just
same with
know.
him. I'm like, when he ain't getting sex, or he just I'm like, what's wrong with you? You just need some. Yeah, like
No,
my bad,
seriously,
like, right?
yeah.
Because we all get like caught up in everything. Like, I don't know, you just need a little loving. I got you. Like, don't walk around here with a freaking attitude.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yes, girl.
But I do appreciate you for that, because honestly, you really gave a lot to me today, and
Thank
I think I
you.
appreciate when I could sit around like-minded people and other women who can pour into me, because oftentimes I feel like I'm pouring out so much, but I'm
Yeah.
like, I need some people that can pour into me too, so just by talking to you and you coming out here and just like, and I know that's probably like just a small part of like all you have to share and to give, right? So I hope to hear more from you. I'm looking forward to you and your husband's podcast. And hopefully, y'all, I can get you and your husband on my podcast. I would love to have that.
He's a character.
I would love it. Oh, he's going to break me out of my shell. But I would love to have you and your husband on the episode and just even dive more into that and hear from both of you. So,
yeah.
We're going to work on that.
Yeah, I hope I got everything out that, we kind of touched on. It's just like so much, like you said, with us as women. And I think a lot of women will benefit just from hearing, how similar our stories are. So if we're like, you came from a totally different background, we never knew each other, but yet we come together with a common ground and common goals. And it's like, I'm sure 9 times out of 10, we're all feeling that too, right? So we could take little nuggets from this and, hopefully I can be, a blessing to someone and just stay encouraged because you can do it. And I don't think we should. And the last thing I'll say is I don't think we should put ourselves in a box to fit only one thing. And so when people be like, how do you do it all? Back to your original question in the beginning, it's because I see myself as so much more. And so once we visualize that and pray and like know what his plan is for us, you see an exponential amount of just like, what's the word I'm looking for?
I feel like because what we said is God's will is so much greater than ours. He's not limited to our capacity. So once we put self aside and focus on what God has for us,
you don't see the limits, right? And that's why I'm able to do what I can do because I'm like, if I manifest it. Yeah. And when I pray about it and then I go do it, then there's no limit to like what you can achieve. And it sounds so cliche, but it's true.
It's true. God says he can do exceedingly and abundantly what we can think, say, or imagine. And I've been imagining some crazy
beyond
things
that, right?
And
beyond
it's like,
what we can even imagine.
And if we think that we're imagining some big things for ourselves, to God, that's like, and he can do beyond that as long as we stay connected to him, right? He told us if we do that, we will be like a tree planted by streams. And if you imagine a tree planted just by streams that just never without, girl, let me be that tree, okay?
Right, and we are in some way, shape, or form. We just don't know it. Yeah. To other people too, sure. And so
how can they find you?
So Instagram, the Fit and Fly PA, TikTok, Martha Carmella. Yeah.
And do you have anything like? I know you and your husband doing a podcast, but anything else coming out that you want people to just like stay? Because I feel like you're gonna get a influx of people now really wanting to just know more about you because, we only see what you put out, but I think this podcast you really was like able to open. So is there anything else people should look forward to when it comes to you, what you're doing?
I think just. Like kind of what I put on is more like my personal like lifestyle. I do have my fitness stuff, but I'm just a well-rounded person, right? Like I love medicine, I love fitness, I love health, wellness. I feel like it's all encompassed together as one. So just really being that driving force for like positivity and like lifestyle, especially for women, finding themselves and just wanting to like get back to feeling good, looking good, right? And so that's kind of what I try to promote, and that's what you'll see on my page. Yeah.
Well, thank you again. Yay. Again, because I thought we were going to go another hour. But I'm really grateful. So thank you for coming. Y'all follow her. This was another episode of This Might Get Deep, and we did get deep. Make sure you subscribe. Y'all know I don't like this part. Subscribe, like, and comment, and let us know what y'all thought.
Thank you.